Hello everybody and welcome to Curly and Creative with Mrs. J. I have some fun, simple, and very flexible projects to show you today that you could make for your mom for Mother's Day. Now, any of you dads out there, the teachers are not sending home projects with your kids, so you're going to have to either have them make something or hopefully you already maybe did something together or ordered something on Amazon, or you could do an activity together, but just in case, here you go. I'm going to show you two really fun and easy things that you can do. The first one is a card. So you can see these flowers come out and they have little things that the kids could do for mom. She can pick a flower and you can write that on there. And the pieces are actually going inside of the card, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little pocket in there so that you can't see the back of the cardboard that I used. So, I'm going to show you how to make this complete project with flowers and a bunch of different options. And then I'm going to show you how to make more of a three-dimensional piece. So, the first thing that we're going to do is fold our piece of paper in half. I'm just using a piece of copy paper. So, obviously, this isn't the time where we can just go out and buy whatever we want all the time. So, you'll have to use what you have. Mom won't mind. She's going to appreciate the thought no matter what. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a pencil and we're going to draw a line. Now, you need to be very careful when you do this because you don't want to hurt yourself. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to very gently poke a little hole right through. And you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut this line open. This is where we're going to stick in our stems of our flowers. So once you've done that, you can sketch out your flower pot, or maybe you want to make a vase. I'll do a vase for this one to show you, and then I'll do it on the inside and I'll show you a flower pot. So if you want to make a vase, you can make two diagonal lines and then circle around with an upside down letter U. I'm a big fan of outlining, but you could do however you want. So I'm going to outline this with a black marker. It also kind of covers up where my line was a teensy bit jagged when I cut it because I had to poke through. And then don't forget you want to make your vase sitting on a table or something. So then you can add some designs and patterns to that vase. So do a wiggly line. And then I'm just going to color in between there. So that was the vase, and I'm going to show you also how to do the flower pot. So again, right along that line that we cut, we're going to draw the line, and then I'm going to make a elongated rectangle here. And I'm going to make my line come straight at a slight diagonal down, and then the bottom of the pot. And this one, I think I will do some zigzag lines so it looks like it is outside. So what you're going to do is you are then going to color in whichever one of these that you decided to do. You're going to color that in. I use some colored pencils, but you could use marker, you could use crayon, you can use whatever supplies that you have on hand. So the next part of this is to make the pocket to catch our flowers so they don't fall out. So the only thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut a smaller piece of paper. So I'm folding it in half, and then I'm going to fold it again. And then I'm going to cut on this fold line. And when you do this to create the pocket, this is very important that you don't just put glue all over the back. You can use whatever type of glue that you want. I'm going to use a glue stick because that's what's close. You could use Elmer's glue. So what you're going to do is and I'm going to draw it up with a pencil. You're going to put your glue here, here, and here. You're not going to put it inside. So you're going to then open up your card where it's blank, and you're going to glue this right inside the card. So I'm pressing down along this edge. Remember, then this part stays open. Okay, so we now have our card all ready to go. It created a little pocket here, and this is where we can stick our flowers. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the flowers. So you could use popsicle sticks, you could use pipe cleaners. I tried to use a very basic supply, something that I thought everybody would have, and so I just cut some strips from a box. I believe this was some sausage patties, so I just cut those up. You want to think about what kind of things that you would like to offer to do for mom. Now, it's not going to be so cool if what you offer to do is a job that you have to do anyway. So think of something extra that you could do. Maybe you will read mom a story, or draw her a special picture, or do an extra chore. So once you're done and you have your pieces, you're going to color with whatever supplies you have. Again, I am using colored pencils. So I'm just going to color my stem all the way. If you're not working on a surface that's like a desk or a art kind of a table, you might want to put a piece of paper underneath so that when you go off of the paper to get the very edge, you don't get it all over the place. So you're going to do whichever flowers, however many you would like to make, you're going to do that many stems. So the next part is to make our flowers. And again, I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can do that. So the simplest way, which is what I did here, and I think it came out pretty nice, is just to make some plain paper flowers. So you can look around and you can see where do I have some circles that I can trace. So you can do a cup, whatever you can find, and you can do different sizes. So I'm going to trace my circles, however many circles I have decided. It doesn't have to be perfect, because as you can see from mine in the example here, I'm going to trim those anyway. So it doesn't matter if it's a perfect circle or not. We're just getting that basic shape. So I've got my circles, and then I'm going to color them. I'm going to use a marker this time just to show some different materials. You can color inside this circle however you want. Be thinking a little bit about the fact that it's going to be a flower, but if it doesn't look like a real flower and you used your imagination, I would say that that would be fine too. I think that any mom would love that. So you can be as creative as you would like when you're making your flowers. You're going to color each flower with whatever design you want. You can see I just did like a swirl and kind of some scribbles. I did one plain color, and then I colored out to the edges. So I did a bunch of different types. And then I'm just going to finish coloring. You could make your flowers all the same, or you could make them different. Once you're done coloring that paper, don't throw your scrap away. That's what I use to make my leaves. You're going to cut your flower circle out. And then you can make the edge of your flower with whatever design you want. You could do a bumpy edge or a squiggly edge. I'm just going to do a bumpy one, so I'm going to cut a bumpy line. If you want to make sure that you don't have any problems with that, you can also turn your circle over and draw those bumps close to the edge so you don't cut away all your paper. It's definitely something that could happen. So I'm going to show you that with that marker. So if you want to flip your flower over and draw those bumpy lines so that you know where you're going to cut, depending on how you like to work, that could be a good idea. So I'm going to cut this out. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of glue to attach that to my stem. So I'm going to take my little piece of cardboard here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right at the top. Little dot will do, and I'm going to put my flower right on there. And then that's going to slide right into my vase or my flower pot. Now don't forget about your leaves if you want. If you make a letter U and then make a point at the top, that makes a nice leaf. You can draw a line down the middle and give it some decorations. If you want to do this very lightly and make a leaf with a zigzag edge, you could also do that. Remember, you're making this for Mom, so whatever you do, she's going to love it. Now I'm going to make my leaf match my stem so that they look like they go together. So you see here, so then I'm going to cut this leaf out and I'm going to glue it right to my stem. So here we go. And then you'll write on whatever little special job or thing that you would do with Mom. So maybe I'm going to write that I would like to read to Mom. So I'm going to write read to you. And if Mom would like that, or whatever you decide would be a good thing for Mom, I'm sure she will appreciate it. And then it just slides right here, right into the flower pot. Now, before we move on, I just wanted to show you some different ways that I did those flowers. If on the back, after you color, no, I love these markers and I really hope this one's not dead. I'll just use my other one. So you're going to make some big bumps, or if you do it upside down, you can make like a letter U and just turn that paper as you go. I like to go from both sides so that I don't end up with a big gap. So then you'll cut around there, and that flower will be similar to this one. And if you want, you can give it a little dimension by folding those flowers leaves in. And if you had a little pom-poms or anything at home, you could always put something like that in the middle. And then this one here, I didn't cut the whole thing. I just cut some little snips. So I have my circle, which I colored with the blue and the purple paper, or the purple colored pencils. And then I did lines that went all the way around. And then you can see that I folded these guys in also. So that's how I got some of those other flower designs. Now, like I said, this is the most basic. You can put whatever you want on here. You can do your message. Oop, my flowers didn't go in the pocket. So just so you know, you want to make sure you open that up so that they don't fall through and that you're inserting your flowers in between the pockets. So that would mean that when we opened our card, we didn't see the stems in there, okay? So let me get mine in here and I'll show you the other side again. Okay, so all my flowers are in here. I'm gonna flip it over, and you can't see them because remember we glued that piece of paper on there. And then you can put whatever message you want inside your card. And voila, that is a fun gift that you can make for mom. It looks like a card, but the gift is in the things that you will do to help mom or make mom's day special. So that is our flat piece of art. And the second thing that I'm going to show you how to do is to create a little vase from a toilet paper tube. I imagine we all have plenty of those if you saved them lying around. If you haven't saved them, you should start because there's all kinds of fun things that you can make with toilet paper tubes. So I'm just going to draw a design on here. You can use a pencil or a marker or a crayon or whatever. And then as you can see here, I just colored that in. I used marker on mine, but again, you could use whatever supplies that you have available. And once you're done coloring, then that becomes your vase, okay? Once again, when we make our flowers, you could use the cardboard to put in here. So we can use that same material, that found object cardboard. You could use a straw. You can use pipe cleaners. So on here, I'm going to attach two. So I folded mine into a V so that I can kind of spread those out a little bit. So I've got two pipe cleaners. You don't need a million. And these are nice because you can kind of bend them a little bit. So I'm going to put these inside, and then that's where I will attach my flowers to. Also, you could just use a stick. I mean, I know that the bottom is brown, but there's things that you can do to add to that. You could probably even, if you had a marker, yep, sure can. You can just color some green on there, make it look a little different. If you have paint at home, watercolor paint or any kind of paint, you could paint the stick. You can take off whatever parts of that you don't want for your stems, for your flowers. Now, once again, we could use these paper flowers, which we made just out of regular paper. So we're just going to pretend that I colored this one. Gonna bend these pieces in here. You could put a little pom-pom in the middle of there if you wanted. You can make it look a little bit more popped up if you want to be kind of tricky. You could take a piece of your scrap. You could color both sides of this paper. Remember, put a piece of paper down if you have a table that you don't want to get anything on. And then to make a different kind of a middle, I can just crumble this baby up. It makes it pop up. And I can take some glue, make a little spot in the middle there, and stick that on, and that makes a cute little flower that you can attach right to whatever part you use as a stem. A good way to do that is to make what I like to call a band-aid, which is just an extra piece. Take this guy out of here. I'm going to take glue. I'm going to cover up the whole rectangle that I did. And I'm going to put the pipe cleaner on top of it. And then I'm going to stick it to the back of my flower. If you can see here how it's trapped inside there. And that makes it stay on really nicely. Then I can stick it right inside of here like that. I'm going to show you a few other options, and then you can get to creating. Another thing that you could do is you could use a cupcake wrapper. If you have little muffin wrappers at your house, you could get one of these. They're nice and thin, so you would do whatever designs. Spread this out a little bit. Put some marker in here. Crayon, color pencil, again, whatever you have. And this one is definitely nice and dimensional because it was supposed to be that cupcake wrapper anyway. And then again, you'll attach it to whatever stem you have. You can use the exact same method of putting glue all over the rectangle. Take that and put it behind whatever your stem is going to be and attach that onto there. Again, I would probably color that before I put it inside of my little vase. And finally, another thing that you can do is if anybody at your house drinks coffee and makes it in a coffee pot, you can make a really cool design by taking the filter and flattening it out, and you can color on it. Now this is going to have some planning because you're going to have to wait for this to dry before you can turn it into any flowers. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing so that I can show you how to cut it. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to drop some little droplets of water on it, and the color is going to spread out. Let me grab some water for us. Okay, so you can even just stick your fingers in there and you can just drip it on. Again, cover your table if you don't want it to get anywhere. And I don't know if you noticed, but where the water is getting on that filter, it's spreading that water, spreading it out. So it looks kind of cool. And then you would have to let that dry before you could turn it into your flower, because you don't want to try and cut it when it's really wet. If you get too much water on there, you can just dab it a little bit, but you notice it's going to take off some of that color that I want it to be on there. Maybe I just want to take that paper towel and put it underneath there. And then once that's dry, you can cut your shapes out just like we did with our other paper and turn it into your flowers and attach it to a stem. So you could attach to your stick, you could attach to a popsicle stick, you could attach to a straw, you could attach to a piece of cardboard, and then once you attach all your flowers, you've got your cute little vase. So those are just a couple fun things that you could make for Mom for Mother's Day. I know we haven't been able to get out and do a whole lot, but art comes from the heart, and I'm sure that Mom would appreciate whatever it was that you made. And you can see how I could attach my other flowers on there. So I hope you have a great time. I hope that you make something fun and heartfelt for Mom, and I'm sure that she will appreciate whatever it is that you do for her for Mother's Day.